time to defend a redhead mermaid. Again. Welcome to today's video, where I'll try to debunk some accusations against Ariel and restore the 1989's movie credibility. So let's dive right into it. What does this movie mean to me, and why is it on the list of my most favorite movies ever? You can skip this with timestamps. I first watched it in my childhood, where films were still distributed via videotapes. Zoomers won't understand. No DVDs, just a hardcore black brick with a tape. My parents purchased a movie for themselves, and the shop assistant generously recorded The Little Mermaid as a bonus to fill in the remaining tape. I still remember the thrill I felt from seeing the grey sky with the foamy waves and the playful dolphins, and how magically the underwater world was introduced. A petition to bring back 2D animation for full-length movies, by the way. Anyways, apart from the pleasant nostalgia vibes, this movie quite literally changed my life. I wanted to understand what the characters were singing about in English. I'm not a native speaker, because I loved this movie so much and wanted to know the truth. So I started to translate all songs and learn them by heart, and then I grew up to be a linguist. Oh yeah. So why do I think this movie's not just good, but legendary and unparalleled? Firstly, mermaids. I'm obsessed with them, whoops, had to confess that. So a good mermaid movie is already a win. Now on the serious note, the soundtrack. It's an eternal classic, and even people who are not into animation or musicals will recognize these tunes and get the vibe. The boldness. I genuinely consider Ariel's transformation scene to be one of the most exciting, breathtaking, and badass transformation sequences ever. The tension, the colors, the creepy hands taking Ariel's voice out of her freaking throat. The outright brutal and detailed tail ripping close-up. Everything's just perfect. And good transformations are a rare thing, trust me. The ending is also very touching and epic, and I could go on, but we're not here to praise the movie, we're here to defend it. So, what could go wrong here? There was a time when people started to analyze, sometimes over-analyze, classic tales in a scrupulous way, and it led to the birth of many new tendencies in the movie industry and the society itself. For example, the age of the main heroes and heroines was pumped up, no more underage weddings in our era, love at first sight, justly, became a less frequent phenomenon, villains earned new backstories and redemption arcs, and so on. All in all, not everything that went through the lens of critical thinking of the new purified generation came out tainted and ruined. Let's focus on the accusations that our beloved Little Mermaid had to face because of all that. There was a point when it became extremely popular to judge the hell out of Ariel, and to this day, every now and then, I see the same hurtful memes that reiterate how dumb Ariel is, that she's a bad role model, this whole tale is harmful, Triton did nothing wrong, and blah blah blah. But is it all fair? Let's start with the whale in the room and the title of the video. Ariel has given up and sacrificed everything for a man. This is what bugs me the most. I'll be asking this question a lot, but have these people even watched the movie? And I'm not saying this to diss anyone, like, haha, go watch the film. No, it's a serious, genuine concern. Because otherwise, I don't understand how people could get it so wrong. So, first and foremost, Ariel is fascinated by the human world. She says it all in her song, in her actions, in her motives. She loves the human culture, items, legs, habits, works of art, trinkets, tools, everything. And here's the biggest mistake that 99% of the people make. They misspell the name of Ariel's iconic song. Everybody calls it part of your world, but Ariel never says it in the song because being with the man / a part of his world is not her motivation yet. It's not on the list. She sings part of that world. The world of humans, the surface, the ground, the two-legged creature's domain. And the lyrics, someday I'll be part of your world, only come in the reprise when she's already met the prince and saved him. I know it might seem insignificant to you, like, what's the big deal? You're that. But it actually makes it seem like from the very beginning, Ariel was only motivated by her lust / romantic feelings, when it's simply not true. We literally get introduced to her when she's on her treasure hunt, exploring the shipwreck and encountering the shark, because it's her defining character trait. Ariel is an adventure soul and the biggest geek of her kin, and feelings towards Eric were merely a cherry on top, in addition to her already existing obsession with the human world, that world. Triton was right in every way. Ariel was too reckless and brainless. I don't know what to say here. Surely Ariel was not the most responsible person ever, but we have to take into account her age and her personality. Some people are just inattentive and bad at organizing their schedule, and on top of that, Ariel also had a forbidden passion that no one else could share with her. What I love about Triton and his character arc is that there is a lot of development, and I mean it. This grotto thing is also just as brutal as Ariel's transformation, and very heartbreaking and uncanny. It's a true nightmare for anyone who's ever been collecting something valuable and meaningful to them, and it seems like Ariel had dedicated a lot of time to gathering all these artifacts. Heck, she even risked her life doing this sometimes, and Triton just demolished it all in 2 minutes. And people say he was in the right? Dude, I don't know what to say, but if you think so, you're scaring me. Even Triton himself shows remorse after giving in to his emotions, but he doesn't have any words to say yet to make amends with his daughter, so he swims away to give both of them space to process what happened. And later on, he admits that he's done a bad thing and he just wishes to bring Ariel back home safe and sound. And at the end, we see that he is truly a loving daddy. He's not a monster. He does love Ariel and is ready to trade his soul for hers if needed. And he does accept her choices and helps her to achieve her happy ending. That's what makes this father-daughter relationship and the ending so moving and impactful. It's character growth on both parts. And saying that Triton is 100% right and Ariel is 100% wrong is such a cheesy wrong thing that contradicts the movie itself. As for Ariel, her decision to sign the contract might seem reckless and hasty, but only if you view it as a sentence written in Microsoft Office Word. This is what Ursula and poor unfortunate souls are for. The genius of the scene is unmatched, and you should watch Asta's video about the subtle instrumental and lyrical details that make this musical number so great, and I'll just point out that Ursula is an outstanding manipulator. She'd been watching Ariel for months before coming in contact with her, and she knows what strings she could pull to trick Ariel into signing the deal. Of course, the conditions of the contract seem more than sus, and the amount of lost souls at the entrance of the cave doesn't make a good impression either, but Ursula knows just how to introduce herself and her shady business to her victims, so that they would consider trying it despite the risks. Ariel does say explicitly in the movie that she wants to approach Eric as a mermaid, and that she doesn't want to say goodbye to her family, and that she doubts it would be possible to successfully charm the prince without her voice. But Ursula knows how to circumvent the victim's attempts to skip the deal. The Sea Witch strikes at Ariel when the Little Mermaid is in her most vulnerable state and starts to persistently convince Ariel that everything will be alright, and already begins to brew the potion as if saying, "There's no going back, dear, it's already been done." Then the rhythm speeds up, the intensity of the moment is at its peak, and the final touch is this "Are you a coward or not? Prove that you are not" look, to which Ariel responds by confidently grabbing the pen. But the ultimate winner here, of course, is Ursula. So accusing Ariel of signing the contract is not taking the context into account, which is sad. Eric is so shallow and foolish. Out of all Disney princess, people chose Eric to prey on? Come on! Eric and Ariel's love story might seem like the classic love at first sight case, but I don't think so. Ariel and Eric are kindred souls. She yearns for being the part of human world, and he loves the sea and feeling of freedom that's associated with it. In the beginning of the movie, he gets excited when he hears about mermaids, and he doesn't act stern or haughty like some nobles do. When Ariel sees Eric on the ship, there is actually a lot of extra data that could help the guy win the mermaid's heart. He's a great companion, he's nice to his subjects, and he even wears simple clothes all the time, with the only exception being his wedding, where he does look royal and grand. He's modest and dislikes the pompous stature that is gifted to him. He values the life of an animal, his dog Max, so much that he doesn't hesitate to rescue the hairy fella during the storm. That is already more than what a simple love at first sight could offer. And finally, he expresses a desire to find not just any girl, especially not for an arranged marriage, but a special, worthy one. I was very surprised when I found out that some people hate Eric for that and call him cliché. Since when does the desire for a healthy relationship equals shallowness and stupidity? What have I missed? As for Eric and Ariel's love story, we already see that the two of them have a lot of chemistry on the beach, but what is even more important is this. Eric not only accepts Ariel's quirks, but appreciates them. Eric's mate says that Ariel made Eric laugh, which hadn't happened in a long time, which is a fantastic detail in their relationship. They have fun, they're a nice couple, they complement each other, and ta-da! Eric repays the dad to Ariel by saving her at the end. She rescued him in the sea, he rescued her at the end. Balance. She's not a damsel in distress, but he's not a dude in distress as well. And Eric's act of bravery is also crucial to the story because it helps the man to prove his worthiness to King Triton, who starts to view Eric and the entire humankind differently after this battle, which helps to complete the merfolk versus humans story arc. Kiss the Girl is offensive to women. I would scream into the mic, but I don't want to hurt your ears. Again, to my horrific surprise, or maybe not really, some people found humiliating messages in the song. And again, have you even watched the movie? Because if you did, then you wouldn't find these lines misogynistic. Lisa Dawn writes in her article, "I can admit that the song might be misconstrued when taken out of context. Kiss the Girl takes place after Ariel has given up her voice to Ursula in exchange for legs, under the terms that Prince Eric must give her the kiss of true love to prevent her from turning into one of Ursula's sea worms and becoming her slave forever. The stakes are high for Ariel. Without the ability to explain herself to Eric, she is at a big disadvantage. That is where her friends come in. Sebastian, the most loyal and musically inclined crab in all of Atlantica, reluctantly agrees to help Ariel try to win Eric over so that she could get her voice back. By performing this song, Sebastian acts as Ariel's voice when she has none. It is an incredibly selfless act of friendship. He supports Ariel's desires, even though he neither understands nor agrees with them. Therefore, the song Kiss the Girl actually encourages helping and supporting women, not coercing them into uncomfortable situations. In this scene, Ariel is the one who's actively trying to make Eric kiss her because, well, she's on a clock and running out of time, and Eric is the one who pushes back and tries to be respectful and sort of distant. He might think it's too early for them to share a kiss, and he's saving himself for the mysterious girl who rescued him. And the song addresses the issue when there is a situation where both parties show interest in starting a relationship, but one side is holding back for some reason. It might be fear, insecurity, or laziness, but often this is the last moment when you can make a step forward before precious time is lost. And the lyrics, "You're gonna miss the girl," imply that it's either you give it a chance now or never. And Ariel is literally going to be gone forever if Eric doesn't give her a chance and kiss her. And I love it how, despite all of this, the filmmakers managed to keep the scene as innocent as possible. I like scenes with sexual tension, but here it would just look inappropriate in my opinion. Like if Ariel sat close to Eric and started to jiggle the paddle in a seductive manner, you know? Today's movie producers might be saying that they're making the changes because they're so progressive and wise, but it's actually done to support the toxic and obnoxiously vocal minority. And no, I'm not hating on women or act against female empowerment. I myself grew up with delightful representations of girl power.
It's just confusing. Is it sexist to hit you? Is it more sexist to not hit you? I mean, the line gets real blurry.
But in my view, The Little Mermaid is not the case that needs to be fixed, and is actually the perfect example of feminism rage gone wrong. Thanks for watching my review of The Little Mermaid, Merhearts. Have a great day and stay inspired. Links to the materials used are in the description below.